Defending champion Crvena zvezda kept a perfect season alive with a routine win over Karpoš Sokoli in Belgrade. In a crosstown rivalry game, Cedevita overcame Cibona to push the winning streak to 4 games. Meet the league's MVP so far, Cibona's super talented center Ante Žižić. We've prepared another list of top 5 plays, and it's worth the wait. Welcome to ABBA magazine. Uroš Lučić and Andrej Cvetkovski left MZT Skopje. Both players demanded to be released, unsatisfied with their roles and diminishing minutes. Lučić averaged 7.8 points in 8 games, while Cvetkovski made only 1 appearance. The Macedonian champion tabbed Ante Nazor as the new head coach. The Croat was at the helm of Zadar in the previous ABBA League season, following a stint in Split and with the Croatian junior national team. Slobodan Klipa is no longer the head coach at FNP. Klipa reached an agreement with the management to leave the bench and return to the position of coordinator of all Crvena zvezda's youth teams, as well as the head coaching job with the junior team. He will rotate positions with the current junior team coach Branko Maksimović, a former assistant with Radnički Kragujevac. Cedevita signed a new point guard, Ryan Boatwright, a former NCAA champion with UConn. Boatwright was exposed to European basketball in Italy's Capo d'Orlando and will arrive to Zagreb from the Chinese league. He is expected to replace Sprayer Jackson. With his 30-day contract expiring, Jackson is set to leave the team and try his luck signing with an NBA franchise. In a surprising move, Ante Matulovic left the head coaching position with Zadar. Matulovic led the former ABBA League champion to a 4-6 record, but decided to leave the team after only 10 rounds. The club will name his successor in the next few days. Crvena zvezda's team captain Luka Mitrovic suffered a sprained calf muscle in the matchup with Karpoš Sokoli. The tests confirmed the injury to be only a mild sprain, requiring no longer than 10 days of rest for full recovery. Following a successful week in EuroLeague, Crvena zvezda made another statement in the regional competition. With a win over Karpoš Sokoli 91-70, defending champion kept the perfect season alive after 10 rounds. It took 27 minutes for the home team to break the spirit of the league's last-placed team. With 3 minutes left to play in the third quarter, Karpoš would hold the lead for the very last time and would be all downhill for the visiting team from that point on. Coach Dejan Radonjić's team held off any hopes of an upset, going 11 for 21 from beyond the 3-point line. But it took a while for the home team to get hot, as they managed to sink only 2 jump shots in the first quarter and went 6 for 22 from the field in the first half. The visiting team took advantage of this opportunity with 2 scoring runs, a 9-0 in the final moments of the first and 10-0 in the second period to grab a game-high 9-point lead. But the Serbian champion quickly recovered to tie the game at the halftime. With their confidence at an all-time high following the last week's upset of Buducnost, Karpoš players put up a fight in the first 7 minutes of the third period. With a 3 from Labovic, they went up 49-48. Crvena zvezda responded with a barrage of threes, started off by Milko Bjelica and carried on by the league's hottest shooter, Marko Simonovic. With 4 of his 5 3-pointers coming in the fourth quarter, Simonovic gets the credit for the convincing win. Bjelica and Simonovic led all scorers with 21 apiece, while Guduric and Dangubic also scored in double digits with 11 and 10 respectively. However, injury to the team's captain Luka Mitrovic somewhat spoiled the celebration in Belgrade. Dragan Labovic stood out for the defeated side with 16 points, followed by Dominik Mavra with 9, although he was perfect from the field and dished out 6 assists. Partizan grabbed an important win in a tough road game at Zadar. With 7,000 in attendance in the Krešimir Ćosić Hall, the visiting team won 76-69 to put an end on a 3-game losing streak and keep the playoff hopes alive. Fans enjoyed a tough-fought battle, even though the home team fell under a rain of shots from the distance by the black and whites. Coach Aleksandar Djekic watched on as his team raced ahead, but simply couldn't put the home team away, committing one turnover after another. Lead changed hands throughout the second quarter, but the team from Belgrade was up by 1 at the halftime. The script stayed the same in the third. In a tough-fought fourth period, Partizan kept Zadar at bay through Uroš Lukovic. The center scored the decisive points to end the threat of a home team's comeback. Lukovic scored 14 points and added 8 rebounds. Serbian national team member Stefan Birčević outscored him by a single point in one of his best performances this season. Marinkovic added 12, Catcher chipped in with 11, while Andrić made some tough and important shots in the final minutes. Zadar lost for the 6th time this season despite 24 points from Barac, 16 from Marinkovic and 12 from Vladovic. The home team took another hit as Ivan Ramljak limped off the court, suffering an injury in the final moments. And an even harder one just a few hours after the game when coach Matulovic submitted his resignation. Buducnost is back on the winning track following a losing streak in ABA League and the Euro Cup. Greece's Ilias Zouros won his first game as the head coach of Buducnost, with his team overcoming Olimpija in Podgorica 84-74. Both teams were missing key pieces due to injuries. Buducnost was without Sean James, but it seems Nikola Jankovic left a bigger hole in Olimpija's offense, as his team was held scoreless for the first 5 minutes. His absence left a hole on defense as well, as the home team's front court of Savovic and Nikolic dominated in both paints. Olimpija struck back in the second through Jefferson and tied the game with 8 consecutive points from Pelko. However, a 13-1 run in the final minutes gave the home team a 13-point lead at the halftime. Buducnost held on to the same lead by the end of the third, with the scoreboard reading 67-54. Olimpija opened up the fourth with 7 unanswered points to get within 6, but Buducnost promptly responded and held on to its 9th win this season. Savovic and Popovic led the team with 16 points each. Jefferson was the top scorer for the losing side with 21, but went 6 for 21 from the field. A crosstown rivalry game in Zagreb was deprived of any drama, as Cedevita dominated from the get-go against Cibona. A 100-80 win could have been even more convincing for the team led by Gianmarco Poceco, who took over the bench, filling in for the suspended head coach Veljko Mršić. Cibona's coach Damir Mulomerovic couldn't count on the injured Johnson and Joksimovic, who were sorely missed. Cedevita took care of business in the first quarter, with the offense firing on all cylinders, finding next to no opposition from Cibona. Cedevita scored 32 points in the first, raced to a 20-point lead in the second, and shot 80% from the field to a 55-40 lead at the halftime. Only for a brief few moments in the second half, Cibona was a match for the home team, who were up by a game-high 26 at one point. Cedevita shot 66% for 2, went 13 out of 26 for 3. Canan Musa was the only player held scoreless and without any time spent on the court. Luka Babic led his team with 24 points, 5 rebounds and 6 assists. Bilan and Bagic added 10 points each. Cibona's short-handed rotation was led by Nick Slavica's 17 points. Reynolds added 14 while Rozic and Maric scored 13 apiece. Ante Žižić played his worst game this season. He did grab 12 rebounds, but had only 7 points and went 3 for 11 from the field. He is one of the Europe's most talented players, and even though he's only 19, Ante Žižić is one of Cibona's leaders this season. It's obvious a bright future is ahead of ABA League's MVP so far, with amazing performances on daily basis in Croatian Championship and the FIBA Champions League as well. It's not easy. It's quite a challenge. We have a short rotation, only 17 players, so 5 of us have to play more than 20 minutes a game. With a game every 2 days, it's quite exhausting. There's no practice time, but it is what it is. We have to make do. We have to give it all we have in every game and win as many as we can. With Željko Šakić as his partner in the front court, Žižić led Cibona to a winning record in the regional competition. We started off well. We have a great record. We only lost to Partizan and Buducnost. We were neck to neck with Partizan all the way until the end. While we kept it close with Buducnost, with 5 minutes left to play. I feel we were quite close, just not deep enough on our bench. We can be proud of our success so far. There weren't that many people who expected us to start off like this. We have good team chemistry, good flow, and I do believe we can be quite successful and even improve. Žižić made a huge step forward compared to last year, but understands he has a long way to go to become a star. I'm still very young. I haven't even turned 20 yet. There's a lot I still need to do. I can improve in every segment of the game. I literally work on everything, jump shot, every fundamental aspect. And I think you can see my improvement in every game.
Doslovno na svakom segmentu igre i eto ga do sada to uspješno obavlja.
He grew up with split youth teams but moved to Zagreb to sign his first professional contract with Cibona. There's a huge age difference between my older brother and me. He was already on his way to become a professional when I was born. And of course, thanks to that fact, I've been around basketball my whole life. I watched all of his games. He was my role model. And I spent a lot of time around him. And it was only natural that I picked basketball as my profession.
Pošto on, ajmo reći, za mene je uzor, želio sam se i ja baviti s time i sa nekih 13 godina...
I started practicing at age 13 in my hometown. When it was time for high school, I moved to Split. After 2 years, I moved to a lower tier, Kaštel, where I spent a season that sent me to Cibona and my first professional contract.
Sam proveo sezonu i eto došao sam nakon godine dana u Kaštelama, potpisao sam prvi profesionalni ugovor s Cibonom i eto tu sam ovo je 3. sezona već.
His development was influenced by his older brother Andrea, with whom he shared the locker room in the previous season.
Pa zapravo na kraju smo mi ciljali da on praktički
Well, we wanted him to play his final season with me. But he's an excellent player, top level one. You can learn everything from him. He knows every aspect of the game. It was quite a thing to share the locker room with him. We still work together, practice together, and I'm very thankful for that opportunity.
Eto, i danas skupa treniramo, prenosi svoje znanje na mene i stvarno super surađujemo.
Žižić was selected by the Boston Celtics with the 23rd pick in this year's NBA draft and will join the glorious franchise as soon as next season.
Ako otiđem do godine, otiću sa 20 godina i praktički želim se zadržati tamo, ne želim biti...
My plan is to join the team next year when I'm 20. I want to stay there. I don't want to be the guy that waves the towel for 2 seasons and then goes back to Europe. I think there's time to improve, and I will improve enough this season and throughout the summer. But that's why I decided not to leave before next season. Igokea claimed a road win over Krka in Novo Mesto 88-72 despite falling behind 20-11 with 2 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Sandi Cebula led his team to what seemed a convincing lead, but Draško Albijanić came off the bench to lead the visitors on a scoring run that brought them within 2. James Robinson joined him in the second quarter and the run extended to 13 unanswered points. Home team couldn't match the visitors' pace, and with points from Šibalić and Radivojević, Igokea went up 44-35 at the halftime. Krka struggled in the third period as well. Offense was held to only 2 points for 6 minutes, while Igokea showed no signs of stopping, racing to a game-high 63-40 lead. Ron Curry woke up in the final minute of the third period and brought Krka within 10 with one of his 6 3-pointers on the night, midway through the fourth quarter. However, all hopes of a comeback were extinguished as Igokea answered with a 7-0 run. Albijanić led the winning side with 16 points and 6 rebounds, while Radivojević and Robinson added 13 apiece. Curry was at the top of Krka's scoring list with 22 points. Marko Luković delivered 18 points, 12 rebounds and 4 assists, but committed 5 turnovers. Igokea is at an even 5-5 record, with only its second win in the last 6 games, while Krka's winning streak was stopped at 4, leaving the team with a 5-4 record and the postponed game against Olimpija coming in the early December. The most dramatic game of the round took place in Sremska Mitrovica, with Leks overcoming a challenge from Mornar to a 93-87 win. The visiting team was without Nemanja Krstić and Mladen Pantić, but reinforced by the newcomer Cameron Tatum and the healthy Radunović and Dickerson. In a fast-paced game, turnovers were aplenty, but both teams made up for it with some unbelievable plays. The lead changed hands in the first quarter, but a 3 from Mushidi would keep Leks up by 4. Tatum introduced himself to the ABA League fans in the best way possible, tying the game at 30 in the second with the first 3-pointer for the visiting team. Zagorac went on a tear on offense to give an 8-point lead to the home team, but a 3 from Mugosha left the score at 47-42 at the halftime. Turnovers, dunks and mini-scoring runs ensued in the third quarter. Waller and Ellis kept the visitors in the game, and Mega's lead shrunk to 1 by the end of the third period. Turnovers would cost the home team dearly as it fell behind, but 3 consecutive threes brought them back up again midway through the fourth quarter. It turned out to be only the beginning of a 16-1 run for the home team that found itself up by 12. However, the youngest team in the league lost focus and allowed Mornar to score 9 unanswered points and make the game interesting once again. In a dramatic final minute, Waller missed 2 of the 3 free throws and 2 open looks from the field. Yet, despite all the misfires, Mornar still had a chance at a comeback. It turned out to be all for naught. With team behind 3 points, Mugosha's flagrant foul allowed Chanchar to put the game away from the free throw line. Leks survived 24 turnovers thanks in part to the 10 offensive rebounds and the motivated Zagorac, who scored 22 points and added 8 boards. In the team's 4th win this season, he was backed up by Mushidi's 18 points and a double-double by Alpha Kaba, 15 points and 10 rebounds. Mornar's losing streak extended to 5 games, with 8 overall. Despite a great performance by Tatum, scoring 25 points, going 4 for 6 from beyond the three-point line. Waller added 15 in the loss, while Jones recorded 12 points. j.t.d shook off the defeat at Krka to grab an all-important win over FNP in its Janez Sandanski hall, 89-68. Goran Krstevski took the role of the head coach, with the new head coach Ante Nazor still unfamiliar with the team, signing only a day earlier. Macedonian champion welcomed back Marko Simonovski and Shalom Klov, who both missed a number of games due to injuries. They made their presence felt from the tip-off. The team found great rhythm on offense and raced to a 26-14 lead at the end of the first quarter. j.t.d's top scorer in the previous season, Đorđe Drenovac, showed he was finally healthy again and gave his team a 20-point lead midway through the second period. FNP woke up in the third period with a better defensive effort. The lead was cut down to 11, but Thames and Clark cut their momentum down. With a 20-point lead, j.t.d fell safe entering the fourth period, and with no pressure coming from the visiting team, held on to its third win this season. Drenovac hit 4 threes on his way to 24 points. Marko Simonovski added 15 points, all with the shots beyond the three-point line. More than the entire visiting team that went 3 for 15 for 3, leaving Dragan Apic as the leading scorer with 12 points. Round 10 MVP honors go to Cedevita's Luka Babic. Croatian national team member spent 35 minutes on the court against Cibona and led his team to victory with 24 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds and 2 steals for a total of 31 index value points. This is the second time the award goes to a member of Cedevita, following the MVP performance of Carlos Ganec way back in the third round. We will stay in Zagreb for the beginning of our top 5 list. Cedevita's fast break comes to a conclusion with this dunk by Miro Bilan. Olimpija's Devin Oliver goes coast to coast to the 4th spot on our list, starting off with a block and topping it off with a dunk. 3rd place goes to a Mega Leks trio. Mushiri must have eyes on his back, fitting Kaba for a monstrous dunk. Ivan Ramljak knows a thing or two about passing as well, as he assists Marinkovic to the delight of Zadar's fans. The top spot on our list goes to the point guard of the league's youngest and most explosive squad, Ognjen Jaramaz. That's all for this edition of ABBA Magazine. We will be back next week with top plays from the 11th round, so stay tuned.